I would have never tested free agency. I would have never done that. You know, right before my last fight, I would have renegotiated a new contract, and it never would have been there. Not saying that I had any ill will towards Bellator or anything. I just never would have been in the opportunity to get a new contract, to go to another promotion, and that's what I mean by that. So them showing me that there's no interest, you know, when I went to free agency, well, when they offered me my new contract before I fought Magny, and we weren't happy with it, so they decided to let me fight out my last fight and let me test free agency. So, you know, when things like that happen, to me, you know, they're not really interested in keeping me.
How much was it on your mind going into your fight with Magny, knowing that a deal wasn't done prior to that fight, and you were sort of risking free agency thereafter, regardless of win or loss?
Yeah. Well, you know, there's always that thought in the back of your head, you know, but I love gambling. I love gambling. Not too bad,
right?
But I love gambling. So that's all it was to me. You know, it was a gamble, and you know, I feel like I hit big. You know, I really won, and I really stuck to my guns, and me going to free agency, I knew coming out of it that I was going to stick to what I want, you know what I mean? And after free agency, as long as I'm able to be like, you know what, I did it, and it came out good or it came out bad, but as long as I did it, you know what I mean? To see what I'm worth, you know, and what other people's interested in me, you know, if I'm not getting taken care of where I was at currently, you know, so. You know, it all went good.
Yeah.
You know, I put my money on Red 36, and Red 36 hit.
You're no longer involved with the Reebok deal. So, did that factor in a little bit to this new contract? Is that you don't have to be tied into that Reebok contract and not being able to obtain your own sponsors?
Yeah, you know, I think anything outside of that Reebok deal, you know, because I mean, it's for public knowledge. You know, my next fight, I would have got 15. You know, I was at. If I would have fought one more time, I would have been 16 fights with Zufar. Yeah. You know, so it's a sponsor. You're a sponsored Reebok athlete, but I'm sponsored. I was sponsored by Reebok for 3 days.
And then,
you know what I mean? And then that's it. You know what I mean? If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm sponsored once I walk up to the fight. After that fight, that's it. You know, so it wasn't a sponsor to me.
Where should we see the biggest improvement? I'm sure you weren't sitting on the sidelines, sitting on the couch. Where should we see the biggest improvement?
I think the biggest improvement for me is just I'm getting more and more comfortable in there. And you know, I know I've had quite a bit of fights, but you know, I think fighting more on the big stage and things like that, I'm getting more loose, and I'm starting to feel like this is normal. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm just getting more comfortable. You know, my tools are always getting sharpened. I'm always learning new things. But I think the main thing for me is I'm just getting more and more relaxed.
Now, most high caliber athletes like yourself have a vision or envision the fight before it happens. I'm sure you've already started that. What has been some of your visions, or do you have already a prediction potentially of what you foresee happening in your bout?
Well, I foresee, you know, the next time you talk to me, I'll be,
that's right.
You know, patting it, rubbing it, right. You know. No, you know, I feel like I'm going to win. And, you know, I think that's anybody who's fighting for the title. I know the challenges I have ahead of me. But my main thing to get me to a point where I'm confident is all in my camp. You know, it's not the night of the fight. It's how hard I push in camp. And that's when I go into the fight with all the confidence in the world, you know. So it's everything for me. It's all the hard work is before the fight, and then during the fight, it's just gonna naturally flow out.
How many fight contracts did you sign here with the promotion?
So I signed a 6-fight.
6-fight. Okay. And I don't want to say leapfrog, but you did definitely leapfrog some steep competition at 170 here at Bellator. When you signed, were there some matchups that in 170 that you were like, okay, if I beat this and this guy, then I would get a title shot?
No, it's just crazy because the whole deal was just pretty like simple and plain. There's no fights. Nothing was talked about. There's no title fight, no nothing. It was just, is this what you really want? It was just really, I can't explain how simple it was. And then I guess everything was gonna come later. So, a week and a half after I signed, I think it was maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks. Yeah. I get a call, and hey, you want to fight? What was it? How did that? You ready to fight? I was like, yeah, I'm ready to fight. Okay. How about Madison Square Garden for the title? I was like, really? Do I have to answer that? And that was it.
Follow us on Instagram. Watch us on YouTube. Check us out on Facebook. Visit us on Twitter. And stay tuned.